Hi folks, I'm the Lost Mapper, and today we're doing day 5 of the 30-day map challenge. The theme for day 5 is analog, and I couldn't come up with any good ideas for actually making a paper map, so I'm going to stretch the definition of analog, or use one of the other definitions of analog, which is something that is analogous to something else. And I was playing around with this last night, and I think it fits into that theme. There's a game I enjoy called Fallout 76, and the map of the world references a lot of real world locations, even though the layout of the map is not necessarily the same as actual West Virginia. So I thought it would be fun to make a map of the real world locations and showing which game locations those are analogous to. So the West Virginia tourism website actually has a page on their site where they show you all the real world, or some of the real world locations in West Virginia that are in Fallout 76. So I thought it'd be good to pick a few of these, get them on a map, and see if we can't also get a image of the in-game location as part of the label for that real world location. So I'm going to use this article as a reference for some of these places. So we're in QJS. I've created a new project and a folder for that project. I'm calling it Fallout 76 Real World Locations. To start, I'm going to add an OpenStreetMap layer just so I can see where I am in general. And if we go down to the locate bar and let's look for West Virginia, that should get us there pretty quickly. Double click on that and we jump to it. I'm going to hit Command B and make a bookmark just so I can always get back here if I need to. It's a project bookmark. And probably what I should do first is let's make a new layer. Let's make a new geopackage layer. And this is what we're going to use to keep track of different points of interest along with the game name of it and the real world name of it. So I'm going to pick a database. I'm going to navigate to my project and I'm going to call this geopackage Fallout 76. And then I'm going to change the table name to points of interest. And the geometry type is going to be point. I don't expect to have multiple points per geography. Actually, there's a tunnel that has an entrance and an exit. No, I'm gonna stick with this for now. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna have that tunnel. All right, so then I need a few fields. So I'm gonna go with real name, and I'm gonna go with game name. Those are the two things that I'm worried about right now. And I've got my new layer. If I open up the attribute table, I can see I've got my feature ID, my real name, and my game name. So let's head back to that article and let's add some locations. So there's one called the Landview Lighthouse, and the real world version is the Somerville's Lake Lighthouse. So I'm going to just copy that text and then come back to QGIS and do another search in the locator bar and see if this comes up. It does. Great. It's right here. So I'm going to toggle editing on for my layer, and I'm going to click on the add point feature, and I'm going to add a point and open up this form a little bit. And the real name is Somerville's Lake Lighthouse. And the game name is Landview Lighthouse. Cool. And why don't we make that symbology a little bit easier to see? How about, let's just use this red diamond for now. Cool. All right. And what's another one we should add? So Palace of the Winding Path, also known as the Palace of Gold in the real world. So this is this place up here at the top of the article. Very ornate temple. Okay, so let's go back to QGIS. I'm going to hit Command K again, greater than bracket, and then paste in Palace of Gold. And I believe this is the right one. Yep, it said West Virginia. Great. So we're going to add another place. Real name is Palace of Gold. And the game name is Palace of the Winding Path. And then I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff. And I might just go and add locations in my own time for a full map. One of the more interesting ones is a place called Fort Defiance, which is actually the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. So let's see if we can find that. It's a long name. Oops. All right, I'm not seeing it via the locator, so why don't we just Google for it, find out where it is. And this is a neat little trick that you can do in QGIS is if you take the URL of a Google Map entry and copy it, and then come back into QGIS and type and paste it into the locator bar, it will figure out the Latin long of that and take you to it. All right, that's in Weston. Let's zoom in on some of these locations that look like William Sharp Hospital. Actually, let's just look at the page here. It is just west of 2nd Street where the bridge is. So let's look for that here. I believe that is this here. Okay. Don't know why that didn't show up, but that's okay. I'm going to add another point. I'm going to make sure I have the name of it ready to paste in. So copying this, gonna mark it, paste in the real name, and then take the game name. Oops. Okay. And then if I zoom out here, I've got a few locations on the map. There's one up here. So let's add a label so we can actually see what those are called. And I'm going to pick single label. And we're going to pick, so I kind of would like to have both the real name and the game name. So instead of just picking a value, I'm going to pick the expression editor. And I think what we can do is we can say real name plus a break, a new line character, break, plus the game name plus an ending parentheses. So we can see now we've got Palace of Gold and then underneath it, Palace of the Winding Path. I think I'm going to go with the real name in the parentheses and the game name. There's probably a nicer way to do this with like a concat function embedding. Let's see. Array cat returns an array containing all the given arrays, array to string. There's probably ways to, actually this one might be nice. Let's see if we can do this. Concat and then just all the pieces. So we could do concat, game name, and then the new line and the parentheses, open parentheses, and then the real name, and then the closing parentheses. And then if I delete the old entry here, okay, I think that's maybe a little bit easier to read than all of the plus signs. We could even combine the new line and the parens. So this character /n means break the line, create a new line. There's a number of these sort of slash denoted characters. You could do /t for tab. They're called escape sequences, so you can Google that if you're curious about those. Okay, so let's hit OK on that. And all right, we've got that looking pretty decent. The other thing I'd like to do is show West Virginia, the outline of West Virginia, and maybe some of the roads and railroads and not rely on OpenStreetMap. So if I come back to here and I Google for US state shapefile, I will find my old friend, the National Weather Service, and download that. And then I'm going to look for US roads shapefile. And I'm going to grab this tiger line shapefile from 2019. I'm not too worried about the year. I think actually Fallout came out. The Fallout 76 came out in 2018 or 2019. So I'm going to download that one. And I'm going to copy those things into my project. Copy that in my project as well and head back to QGIS and head into my project home. I'm going to add the state shape. I'm going to just go with the transformation it suggests. And let's put that under our points of interest. And then let's filter. Let's look at the data first so you know what I'm referencing. I can see that there are names and state abbreviations. And I just want to show West Virginia. So I'm going to filter this. And I'm going to filter it based on the state equals WV. Let's test that out. Just one. Cool. I'm going to turn off OpenStreetMap for now, and then I'm going to zoom to this outline of the state. All right, I've got my 3 locations. And then let's add the roads. Okay, and maybe change, let's make the symbology of West Virginia look a bit nicer. Maybe just pick a nice green color. This light green. And let's give the roads a maybe a black. Maybe a little bit thicker than the border of the state. Okay, there are my roads. Actually, I think I might want to make those a gray just so they're not as prominent. Let's make it this dark gray here. Okay, got some locations, got some labels, and I'd actually like to only show the roads inside of West Virginia. So what we can do, so I want to clip the primary roads using geoprocessing clip, and we're going to clip it based on the selected state. And maybe instead of creating a temporary layer, I'm actually going to save to a geo package. All right, that time it seems to be happy. I'm going to go to my project. I'm going to call this transportation, I guess. And let's call the layer name roads. Did it, and it didn't add it to the project. Or did, oh, no. So I don't know why this happens. Sometimes when you do operations inside of QGIS on the Mac, the dialog sort of disappears, falls behind the rest of the application. And if you hit Command tilde or Command backtick, you will bring that window to the front again. So it was just hidden behind the main window. So I can click Run, and that is done. I'm going to turn off the old layer, and we'll just leave that called roads. I probably lost my styling after a restart, but all it was 0.5 millimeter and black or gray. We did a dark gray. So let's just bring this up. So what I'd like to do now is try and get the images of the locations in the game on the map pointing to where it's located at in the real world. So I think the way that we can do this, I've not done this before, so this is a bit of an experiment. I'm going to duplicate my point of interest layer, and I'm going to rename it to point of interest images. Maybe I'll call this one point of interest labels. So at this point, what we're doing is we're using the same data, but we're going to represent it 2 different ways. And So let's look at what we've got here. We've got Palace of Gold, or Palace of the Winding Path, I guess is the game name. So let's just look up one of those. So if I Google Fallout 76, Palace of the Winding Path, and we head to the Fallout Wiki, there's an image of it. So I'm going to grab a screenshot of this image. I'm also going to leave this up so I can come back here and give credit to the person that took the screenshot. I'm going to save this. So I want to be able to get these images to show up as markers on the page, referencing the image that we stored on the in the file, in the folder here, images. So I'm going to go to my images one, double click on that, and choose Symbology, and then I'm going to pick Simple Marker, and I'm going to switch it to Raster Image Marker. And maybe just as a proof of concept right now, I'm going to give them all the same image and see what that looks like, and then I'll worry about customizing them. So let's all just make them look like the lighthouse. I got to enable it. Guess we need to turn off the label for that other layer. No labels for this one. And I think the images are not. Let's turn off all these other ones. Okay, very tiny image. Did not notice that before. So let's grab that. Get back to Symbology. Size is in millimeters. Why don't we, I'm going to cancel this and then open up the sidebar since I can then see at the same time what's going on. I'll move myself out of the way. I'm going to double click on this bookmark, make sure I'm in West Virginia. So let's just double it and see what that looks like. And let's just double it again and keep on doubling it. Okay. That's a decent size. And what I'd like to be able to do is actually move the position of it. So let's see, there's an offset. I wonder if there's a way to, I wonder how you control the offset. Let's just see. Let's see if we do 128 in here. Okay, it's off to the side. I'm going to stick with that for now and maybe figure out a better way to do that. But what I'd like to do now is be able to use the actual image referenced in our, well, actually, we haven't added that yet. So let's go to our point of interest table. And we're going to add a field. I need to first turn on edit and then click on new field. And I'm just going to call this one image. And it's going to be a string. And then for each of these, I'm going to use the path. Maybe I'll use the current path, images plus lighthouse. .png. All right, let's open that up a bit. And then this one will be images/palace.png. And this one will be images/defiance.png. I could also not put the word images in there and actually do that inside of an expression here, but let's just get this to work and then we can refactor it and make it look better. So from here, can I use, there's a variable. I don't know that I want a variable so much. No, I want a field image, question marks. Wonder what that means. Let's also delete that question mark. So it doesn't know where the image is. I thought it would be able to find it. What if we change? I'm curious if it doesn't like the dot. So let's just try images, lighthouse. Doesn't seem to matter. All right. Is it because of in your project properties, there's this project home, and I think it defaults to the directory that your project is in, but maybe it doesn't know that for markers. So let's just really specify it, hard code it here. So I've now made it this project, and still nothing. Edit. Oh, let's do QGIS raster image path expression. Here's one recent expression to retrieve image from local directory. Variable. All right. Maybe I add a project variable and then add them together. Project properties and variables. Well, there's project folder. Okay, so why don't I try adding project folder to, how do I make an expression in here? Oh, sorry. All right, I go to edit and I'm going to say, let's search for project folder. All right, great. And then let's use that concat that we used before. Concat project folder along with image. All right. And then we've got that dot in there. So maybe let's get rid of that dot. And actually, let's just make our lives easier. Let's put the images in here. So this is not a field, but a string. And then we're going to add image. Doesn't want to show me that preview. Show me that full preview. Oh, and this had to be in quotes. That's what I'm missing. All right, so let's go back to our data. And let's just have the file name, not the folder name. Kind of was expecting it to update, but maybe not. And save that. Defiance PNG. All right, let's go back to our expression and edit it. Slash images and another slash. Is that what we're missing? Hey, it works. Fantastic. All right, that's exciting. Cool. Kind of wish I could put a border. Let's get fancy, do a draw effect, do a drop shadow under it. Cool. That looks cool. Kind of wish we could draw a line from, actually, so if I add a label, but I don't put anything in the value. No, they would have to be in the same location. All right, I don't think that's going to work. I'm going to turn that off. This is definitely getting a bit long. I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to go back to these labels on the point of interest labels. I'm going to enable callouts, and I'm going to move them. It's going to ask me which ID I want to use to match the labels to the position of the feature. And I'm just going to move these out here. And I'm kind of cheating, but in the amount of time that I have, I think this is okay. Maybe move this one a little bit down. All right, I'd like to come back at some point and figure out how to make that better, but for now, that will do. And we'll choose bold. And let's put a buffer on them so you can read the text and maybe make the text just a little bit bigger. I might run out of room. No, let's go back to 10. Okay. That was a lot of stuff. I also kind of wonder, can you put the call out? I don't like the call out is on top of the marker. I wonder how you get the marker to be on top. There's no like Z order, something that tells me what level the thing is on. Let's see here. There's also, I think, a way I'll set from feature. What if I do 2? Okay, I can just do an offset, which gives it a little bit of a buffer. This has been going on a while, so I think I'm going to call it for now. I might come back to this later and fix it up, add more locations, figure out how to get these images to be movable. But there you go. A map that is analogous, a video game map that is analogous to a real world map. All right. See you tomorrow.